Everybody.
Yeah. Everybody.
Hey. Hopefully we're live. Are we live? Can you all see us, hear us? I have no idea because it tends to come up. I've got my phone next to the laptop for the comments, and it always comes up like later.
Ah, right, yeah.
For some reason.
Somebody speak to us.
Yes, we are live. Awesome. And now my phone's playing all the... There we go.
It's been one of them crazy evenings, isn't it?
Oh, today has just been mental. We get crazy days where people break hydraulic hoses left, right, centre, and all the rest of it. And then we get days where that happens, and then you get people phone up and you go to site and they're going, well, we want you to spec this up. We want to go from here to there. We want to do this. We need a gauge over there. And you go in. Right, yeah. And then the manager's phoning up going, you nearly done yet? Because there's another job waiting. And I've got, yeah, can you give me a quote for this? And he's got, I've got a customer at the... Oh, it's not...
Drive you nuts.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah, well, better not mention the HS sites. I'll get lynched.
Oh, Lee says hello. John Silvers. Professor's Critters. Mark the Spider Guy. Oh, Mark.
Hey. If you're not subscribed to Mark, please give him a subscription. He's a lovely guy. He will also be at Taunton. You're going to Taunton, aren't you, Dave?
I am now, yeah.
Good. That was from the last live, wasn't it?
Yeah, I got bullied into it.
Bullied.
I'm actually really looking forward to it now.
It was a general push.
Yeah, I hadn't intended on going, and but now I'm excited. I am excited. I've got a few things that I want to have a look out for. So yeah, I'm actually quite excited now.
Let me just go down the comments and give people a shout out. So we've said hello to Mark. Hi, Greg. 8 legs, 4 wheels. Give Greg a follow as well. He's an awesome man. Hey, D. Hey, Marie. Hi, Nick. Hi, Lee. Hey, Zach. Hey, Marie. Hi, James. Hi, Chris. Hi, Amy. Severos. All right, Paul. All right, Carson. Hi, Chaz. Hi, Amy. Hi, I didn't think there'd be this many. All right, Jay. Hi, Andy. Yeah, I'm just going to say hello to everybody in one go. I think there's just loads going down. If you've just got into spiders and you want anything sort of answering or going over, drop a question down into the comments, and I'll certainly try and answer those. Well, we will. Sorry. And then any other spidery questions that you've got. Dale's been a channel member for 11 months and says Scott's beard is rubbish. Dave's got a better beard, hasn't he? Dale's only jealous because his is almost ginger. It's not ginger.
Yeah.
And he's younger than me, and he's got loads of grey.
He's an imposter.
He's a ginger / grey imposter. Anyway, Dave, you and your channel have actually changed some of my keeping, as you know. I don't know if you've seen the Filipinas video that I did.
No, I haven't. You done that yesterday, was it?
Yeah, I dropped that yesterday.
Yeah. I haven't looked at anything. I don't think I've even answered my own comments yet. It's been an absolutely manic week. And it ain't over yet. It's it's carrying on. So yeah, it's been one thing after another. But
it's only Tuesday.
Yeah. I'm exhausted, to be fair. But no. So you've changed some of your things, yeah?
Yeah, I'm trying all those slope methods similar to what you do in your enclosures. That Filipinas has been seen like literally living on the side of slopes and stuff. So I thought I'd have a go at that.
Yeah.
But a lot of my fossorials I want to take out of the deeper substrate and put into more of a, not necessarily a smaller enclosure, but more of a display enclosure.
Yep.
Because I think we had a conversation on one of the lives where we were, well, you kind of educated me because you were saying they burrow deep because of the heat.
Yep.
We haven't got that type of heat in the spider room, but what we have got is their ideal temperatures.
Yeah, I think it's with things like your fossorials and stuff like that, and your arboreal, any of your spiders really. It's all about making them feel secure, and you can do that in many ways. So you don't need to, it's been a common thing through the hobby over years and years, with the argument about substrate depth and what have you, and it's people get confused because just because something lives 3 foot underground in the wild, there is normally a very simple reason as to why it lives 3 foot underground. You take that reasoning away, you no longer need 3 foot of substrate, do you? So, it's all about when you get your information and you look at your care sheets and everything else, take on board what each of them are saying, and then use that information in a logical sense in your particular setup, and then you will get far more out of it. There is a lot of the people that harp on about there's not enough substrate, you need this, you need that. The vast majority of them are following like sheep because some old care sheet said it needed 15 inches of substrate. It's rubbish. It's rubbish. You don't need it. You're providing your spider with absolutely everything it requires for a healthy life. So,
the Cran Cracker, she's in what, foot and a half of substrate, and I was always big on that. I was always like, yeah, but they've been discovered in the wild 2 foot, 4 foot down, and all the rest of it. She's in a tarantula room enclosure, so you can see where her burrow goes down. And 9 times out of 10, she's either sat outside of that burrow, or she's sat literally about 4 inches under the substrate. And I'm thinking, there's this much enclosure that she's burrowed down. Okay, yeah, fair enough, but she's never in.
Yeah, I think it's. My Kraken spends the only time it disappears is either when it's molting or it's got a sack. It's the only time. The rest of the time, she sits outside all the time. My Vietnam Blue was exactly the same. She would sit out all the time. My Marshelli, 9 times out of 10, is sitting outside, up on the surface. The only one that is, the only ones that are a little bit different like that are I've got some Kovariki, and I never see them. Never. Not even of a night time. I've never seen them. I've got an adult female, and I've had her maybe 2 months. I've had her now, and I've never actually seen her. So
I can't pronounce it correctly, but the Chiropagopus hanainum.
Oh yeah, correct? Yeah.
I never see her. Never.
Yeah.
Lee Walsh says Chilibrachys electric blue lives out in the open all the time. I only ever see the blue legs of mine unless I'm putting food in, and then she's like, boom.
Yeah. Well, again, you see, this is one of the things I've tried to show on my channel is you can you can get to see more of your spider if you start regulating the food. So rather than feeding when you think it's necessary, wait for your spider to tell you when it's necessary, and then when that spider then tells you I'm ready for food, make it wait a few more days. And then feed it, but then only feed it a small item. Don't go giving it a chunky monster. Give it a small item, and then that way you'll find it will eat it, and then it'll be back up again in a day's, 24 hours, looking for another one.
Have you seen any of Andrew Smith's Trio Travelers? We'll answer that one in just 2 seconds. I've seen his documentaries on the pokies. The little snippets that he's done ready for this documentary he's got coming out. The abdomens of the ones in the wild are a lot smaller than what we have in captivity. Yeah. Which leads me to one of the things that he said was that in captivity we're basically overfeeding. Yeah. Because they wouldn't find that much food out in the wild.
Yeah. And this is one of the things that you can change for like when you're breeding and what have you. this all comes into play. So how you feed is a huge part of the hobby. It's a massive part of your husbandry. But it's one of the things that's often overlooked because people are either too concerned about substrate depth, humidity, and all the rest of it, and they just keep throwing food in. But the food is probably one of the biggest single factors to having a healthy spider. And also as well, you were saying, like with Andrew Smith, if you look at the spiders when you see them in the wild, yes, they've got smaller abdomens. And one of the reasons is because spiders they're an ambush predator. So you get the other thing that comes up in a hobby. You know, your enclosure's too small. That lives in the wild where it's got a whole jungle to go walk about whenever it wants to, you know?
Yeah, and they use this much of a hole. That's it.
Yeah. The reason it's got a small abdomen is because the frequency of prey going over that, you know, outside that hole or wherever is very, very small in that particular spider's environment. So again, it shows something else, doesn't it? You know, it shows that they're not necessarily out wandering around. They set up home, and that's where they stay. They don't go very far. You know.
I think we'll answer Emma's question, then we'll get to Trio Travelers. Emma Saxton says, "Hi guys, do you pre-kill feeders for slings?" Sometimes, very rarely for myself. It depends. Yeah. If they're shying away from the live food that I put in, then yes, I'll pre-kill or pre-wound. I know it sounds horrible, but if you can slow the prey item down, that helps for slings. So if you're using something like tiny hoppers, you could take off the jumping legs, and that slows them down greatly. So the spiders feels a bit more confident in taking it.
Yeah, I think I don't pre-kill anything. Apart from the only ones I pre-kill for are young Balfouri. They're the only ones, and that is purely because I feed them from literally the minute they darken up and they go to slings. I start to feed them, but I've already housed them communally in their own little pot. So I might have 30 or 40 of them in a deli cup, and then to feed that 30 or 40, I will just get a soft-bodied roach. Preferably, I look for one that's recently molted and still white. That's ideal. And then what I do then is I kill that and I split it open and I leave it in there. And that will stay in there. I'll put that in the evening, and that will stay there until the following morning. Whatever's left the following morning, I remove, take away. But you'll find all of them spiderlings will all have fat little, abdomens by that time. And they're perfectly good. All the other slings are all fed. There is no need to pre-kill your food if you feed appropriate sized food items to the spider that you're feeding. So if you've got really small stuff, I always find it's better to go with fruit flies, the large fruit flies, or wax moth larvae. I use them quite a bit. And then that way I don't need to pre-kill anything. So I can literally go through the thing. I think where it falls down a little bit for a lot of people is they will only use the staple, like crickets and things like that you get from your pet shop. So it all depends on what you've got. I mean, I've got so much, so it pays me to breed all my own stuff. Yes. So I've always got a surplus of bits and pieces that I can turn to. So, but then a lot of people can do that. Fruit fly, really, really easy to culture. I don't breed crickets anymore. I'd have done years ago, but it's just too messy, too smelly. Don't like it.
It smells like a gents urinals back in the 90s, doesn't it?
Oh man, they're horrible.
It does smell.
The only thing I find between my dubia roaches and my red runners and my hissing cockroaches, it covers me for absolutely everything. That and fruit flies.
If you've got a smaller collection and you don't breed your own, I'll have a discount code for livefoodsforyou.co.uk, which is just Scott's Inverts. Gets you a little bit off. That might help some of you. Trio Travelers, can you both tell us how you got started with spiders?
Ooh.
Do you want to go first, Dave?
Right, okay. I think mine's probably just been in me blood, to be fair. My father was always into anything like that, any wildlife sort of stuff. So I was keeping big snakes and things like that. I believe when I was very small, literally like 2-year-old or so, my parents run a reptile like mini zoo type thing in Margate, and so I was sort of open to all sorts of stuff down there, from crocodiles to snakes to mammals, everything. And then just gradually, as a kid, I was forever out collecting bits and pieces and sneaking them home, and typical stuff, hiding it all under the bed until it made a racket and woke everyone up, and then everyone knew what I had. And and then along with the pleasure of finally catching these things in the wild would come the belt and the slipper for bringing it home unattended. So
hard bottom slippers, yeah.
So I think it's sort of I've been doing from a very, very, very young age, and it's something that's never left me. So even when I do, I've done it as a working career as well. I was a zookeeper for many years, and I've been very, very fortunate that I've been exposed to pretty much everything. There's very few animals I haven't had dealings with in one way or another. So I've been very, very lucky, very lucky.
Twigs, I'll answer that. We'll answer that one in just 2 seconds. So the way I got started is a bit unconventional to the norm, I'd say, because I was at one point in my life 7 years ago is when I sorted myself out. I went from being homeless and taking lots of illicit drugs, as well as a lot of prescription stuff as well. I went from being homeless, went into a hostel, went into a flat, and I thought to myself, I've lost my mum. I've lost the connection with my mum, I should say that correctly. And I was sitting there and I thought, I want my mum back. I want that. I want a normal life. I need to sort stuff out. And I did. So I got clean, sorted myself out in the flat. A friend of mine gave me 2 spiders, and I started looking after those. It was an LP and a Shakalades. Started looking after those, started researching them. But what nobody ever said to me was how addictive the whole hobby is, and the people within the hobby as well. So it helped me change my focus from where I used to be to where I wanted to be going, and also it gave me a drive to start work again. Because obviously, if you've got a couple of spiders and you want a lot of spiders, you need an income. So that helped me to get working again, and been working nearly 4 years again now. And also got the family now and everything else as well. And it's just literally exploded. So I literally took a chaotic lifestyle, and spiders kind of put a normality on it. Do you know what I mean? Put a structure on my life for me. So I owe the hobby a lot, especially the people in it as well. And it just, I don't know, something inside just captivated. They're not your normal creature to be keeping, are they? Normally it's like a cat or a dog, or fluffy rabbits.
Yeah.
And that didn't quite fit my niche. I've never been your average normal person. So for these spiders to come along, it was just like, wow, okay. And it took me forward. And like I said, I owe so much to the hobby. It's unreal.
Yeah.
They are Twigs. They certainly are therapy. I can't deal with normal life, normal family stuff. So the way I deal with it is I come in here, check out the spiders, chat to people like Dave and all the rest of it, and then suddenly everything's all right in my mind, and that's it.
I think to be fair, it's like that for an awful lot of people. The hobby in itself is an enormous escape. You can literally pull your spiders down from the shelf, start having a muck about. There's so many things to be looking at and to be thinking about, and so many questions to be answered. At whatever level you are, it doesn't matter. The questions are all there. So, there's so much you can get into it as much as you want, and get as much as you want out of it. It's an incredible thing. And like you say, the actual community is so vast, and on the whole, it is good. It's like anything. There's always going to be the odd ones, but on the general whole of things, if you're sensible with what you do, then you'll meet sensible people.
I mean, we've got a 3-year-old, and I talk about this all the time because I love to talk about autism and autism awareness. So our 3-year-old's he's autistic. He can communicate, although he doesn't like to. He's also got ADHD, so that means he's like highly fused all day, every day, and he can push every single button that you've got. And you do need an escapism, and this helps a lot. And the people in it are absolutely amazing. But yeah, let's get to Twigs's question. What would you guys recommend as a first juvenile old world tarantula?
Oh,
I would personally go for something in between. If you're thinking about moving from new world to old world, I'd probably go for a Pyrmurnia, which is a new world, but they're a halfway house. I don't know about you, Dave, but I went from two new worlds and straight to an OBT.
Yeah, I think it's. I think I've said this many times. I think you should choose your spider depending on how you feel you are. If that makes sense. So if you're particularly jumpy, then the last thing you probably want is a fast arboreal. You know, if you're very nervous, then maybe an OBT or something like that probably isn't a good choice. You know, because although we've shown all of these so-called bad reputation spiders are actually real puppies if you treat them right, they can be really, really good. But
OBTs were the worst thing ever. They were advertised as like a pit bull on speed. You know, it was like, my God, it's like Mike Tyson on a bad day.
Yeah,
you say the wrong thing, it's going to have you. You open that lid and it'll teleport out, and it's eating your family. It's like, but you know, you come to have these things, and it's like my OBT just sits quite quietly. In fact, all 4 of them do. They don't.
It's like most things. When it's what you want to ask yourself is, whatever you go for, ask yourself the simple question: if it all goes wrong, what am I going to do? And if you can answer that in a sensible, relaxed manner, then go for whatever takes your fancy, you know. But if you're going to sit there and think, oh, I'm probably going to run out, shut the door and ask for a neighbour's help, then, you know, perhaps, just take your time. Because that's the other thing as well. There is no rush. So if you get yourself a nice calm spider, I don't know. There's so many different ones that you can go for.
They're asking chat. Hey, baby, hi, Tara.
Yeah, there's so many you can choose from.
I'll give her a shout.
Well, I think it's you need the question should lie with how you feel your ability is, rather than the spider, and then choose your spider.
Oh, Gemma, thank you so much. Gemma's just become a new channel member. Thank you.
Yeah.
Really, really appreciate the channel members, man. It's mental for me. I've also found is if you look at your spider and you think, oh, you're going to cause me issues here when I rehouse you, is go for an oversized catch cup, because it just, I don't know what it is, it just gives me confidence and it helps. So I tend to go for a larger catch cup that I know is going to cover the spider. So when I go like this with the catch cup, the whole spider's inside it. I've not trapped any of its legs. Its bum's not out, so it can't escape and come and rip my arm off. It's inside that catch cup, you know. And then, is that Conor McGregor? It's the home zoo. There's load of people were saying like I look like a fat Conor McGregor, so I've just gone with it. I'm like, yeah, fair enough to do.
You could be called worse things.
I have been, trust me. Tara's in the chat. She'll agree with that. She's called me worse things. Jay Tal says, Dave, Little Beasties, what temperatures do you recommend on average? I think so. What he means is if you've got a majority of spiders in your collection, what's a good average temp to be keeping them all at?
Well, I keep. I don't chase numbers, and I'm often telling people don't chase numbers. And I find because I heat my room, and I keep that anywhere between sort of 75 and 80 degrees Fahrenheit, and that covers me for pretty much everything I want to do. And I can get a gradient between the floor of the room and the ceiling, so I use that to change my spiders depending on what I want to do. And I find them temperatures allow me to breed everything, and I can keep everything really, really easy. So I have no molting problems, no feeding problems, no nothing.
What temperature that in English money, Dave?
26. About 26, I think. Yeah, I think it's 26.
I take a reading of about, literally, I'll just put a thermometer up, about halfway up. And if it says 26, 27, I'll take the thermometer down. I won't bother measuring for another week. Yeah, there is no need. You got. I don't agree with the old saying that, if you can sit comfortably in a t-shirt, your spiders will be all right. I think that's just an absolutely ludicrous thing to say. Absolutely ludicrous. You know, I've got a friend who can sit out in a snowstorm in a t-shirt and he don't get goosebumps. I would have froze my bleeding rear end off. Yeah. You know, so I don't. I'll tell you, days like this, I'll quite happily walk up the shop in shorts and a t-shirt. Not a problem.
Yeah. But you'll find that there's plenty of other people that'll be wrapping up because they're cold. So
she's a small woman, and she literally goes outside in 4-degree weather, looking like the Michelin Man.
Yeah.
She gets cold very, very fast. She's one of these ladies that I'm sitting watching telly in a t-shirt, and I'm going, I think the neighbours got the heating on, and she sat there with a jumper and then a dressing gown round her with a little hood up, going,
yeah.
I'm like, no, it's not.
Yeah.
Nicola Barton says, hi guys, could you tell me some reputable shops / breeders to buy tarantulas from? I'm new to the hobby and I've been sold a few females that have turned out to be males. That is a big problem. That happens, I think, with the majority of sellers purely because you can missex them very, very easy. To be honest, if I had one which I was thinking, is that male, is that female, I'd probably send a picture to Dave and go, what do you think make of this, mate?
It's not always reliable. I think the thing to do with as terms of shops and that, I think there's probably 4 or 5 main shops that are good, and they're the top ones. The regular ones. You've got Spider Shop, So Many Legs, Creatures from the North. These are all shops that I've dealt with and never had any problems. Emil over at Spider Planet, very good. Damien Marchinek, again, another really good supplier. They tend to deal more with the higher end stuff, maybe, especially for Damien. He has a lot more higher end stuff. But one that's coming up now, and I have used quite a bit in the last year, and done little bits with, is Spar Spiders.
I love Spar Spiders. They live up the road and they're cool as well.
They are probably my new go-to favourite spider supplier, and purely because everything that I've had or seen from them has been top quality and also at a very fair price. Which is something
that Filipinas came from.
Sorry?
It's where the Filipinas, my recent video, that's where that came from.
I thought you said that's where your penis had been. Oh, you had me confused. But no.
It goes.
But no, I think, I would shout them out every time. I think if you've got anything that you're after, they've got a website, so, drop them a message and see if they've got it first, because you won't be disappointed. And they also, a lot of their stuff, if it's sexed, they'll state that it's been sexed.
Yeah.
And I would back them 100% that you would get what you asked for.
And if they're unsure, they'll say they're unsure, and they'll put the price the same.
Yeah, I will say I know some of the big shops, they get every now and again they get a bit of bad press you know, maybe a spider come through dead, or you know, it's wasn't what you ordered or whatever. You know, there might just be a simple thing. 9 times out of 10, there's a simple reason for it, and generally speaking, I can only speak from my own sort of encounters with these people, and I've dealt with most of them. They've always rectified everything straight away if there has been a problem. So and they've all been good like that. And I sometimes wonder when I see posts go up where people are bad mouthing different companies.
Yeah, too quick to post.
Yeah, I think sometimes it's you know, it's not, especially with slings. If you're buying slings for a start, very, very small slings, I would take with a pinch of salt if someone tells you that's a female or a male. You know, use a bit of common sense. You know, we've all got to accept a little bit of responsibility when we're buying. And
Shelley Shao says, someone write that list down for me, please. What I'll do is I'll get the list and I'll put it on my community post on YouTube. And if Dave does the same, job done. Then you've got it. You've got it.
Mm-hmm.
Spar spiders, I'll rate them that much. They've actually got 2 of my Pantherbetes for a breeding project at the moment because I can't get the temperatures that they need.
Yeah.
And I can't maintain. I haven't got 18 degrees in here for a start. That's how much I highly recommend those guys.
Yeah.
Creatures from the North, the mystery boxes, I've had a few and they're absolutely amazing. They're individually priced spiders, and I will say this to Rad himself as well, are overpriced. But if you speak to him at a show, there is some leeway in those prices then. That's a little heads up. But I've had issues with Creatures from the North with the DOA. I've had issues with Venomous Visions with the DOA and with the Spider Shop. And all 3 have rectified those errors within 24 hours. Tony Webb from Venomous Visions instantly rectified it. But like Dave was saying, that these spiders come through the post, which is, you know, we value the spiders being so precious. We move them around very, very carefully, very, very gently. A postman in a busy rush doesn't give a crap what's inside that box. It just gets into the back of the van or thrown around the warehouse or whatever, which is understandable because the amount of pressure they're under. But then when you receive something that's DOA, you're like, you could possibly be like, it's a seller's fault, you know, and it's not always. It's how they've been treated from the point of being posted to when you receive them. But that brings me around to another subject, is the packing. That's another reason why these sellers have just been mentioned as being so good, is because their packing is absolutely on point. Adam the Invertebrarian's in the chat. Massive, massive, massive hello to Adam.
Hello, fella.
Guy. Awesome guy.
We've got to say hello to Luca and Sam, who are watching at the moment. Hi, guys.
That's awesome. Awesome. I love it when the kids are there. We'll have to watch the language. The chat has gone really, really fast. So there's questions that have come and gone. So I do apologise. I can't keep up with the chat. So I'm just gonna have to grab the questions as I see them. As we finish one, is when we'll try and answer another one. So if you've got any more, stick them into the comments now, and we can certainly answer them. Adam says, I know someone's selling a Galapagos. If anyone wants to get it for me. That's Chris. Yeah, I seen that come up. I was like, oh, no.
I've got a funny feeling that might have been mine.
Wow. I just saw it. I was just like,
I'm not sure. I sold one about 2 years ago, and I did hear from the grapevine that they then in turn sold it again. And I seem to remember someone saying that it was Chris that bought it. So it might actually, I don't know, it might be my old one.
What's moving around in the top of the pink lid? What are you on about? Oh, over here. Samani. So I've got a male and female scorpion in there. And what they've done is they've shifted all the substrate all the way down one end. They're absolute bulldozers. So instead of settling it all out again, I've literally just left it how it is and just let them get on with it. Zach says, where do you get your Komodo 30 by 30 enclosures. How long does a typical sling take to become an adult? How do you think acrylic enclosures like those from Tarantula Room compare to glass?
Right.
90% of my enclosures are second hand.
Yeah, I think pretty much all of my Exos I bought second hand. Although my Komodos I normally buy them new purely because you don't see them very often second hand. But if I do see them, I buy them. So yeah. As for shops, I use a place called Southern Aquatics, which have got a website. There's a website for them. And they are actually, as the name suggests, they are an aquatic store, but they do pets and everything as well. And I find them best price-wise for all enclosures, to be fair. And if you've got a local one near you, go and have a chat because they're always approachable and willing to do a deal. So yeah, they're really, really good. Actually, I like them a lot.
I think a lot of my enclosures are just like what's available second hand at the time.
Yeah. I think I've always been in over the years. I keep an eye on the second hand stuff that's local to me, and whether I need it or not, I will go and buy it, and then I just put it away or put it in the loft or whatever. And then 9 times out of 10, I see something, I think, oh yeah, I really fancy that. Oh, what have I got in the loft? And I'll pop up and be like, I've got that tank there. That will do it. Job nice,
That's the sore subject in this house.
That's what I do. Yeah, I mean it's.
I've got tons under the stairs, and Tara's like, "Will you move these bloody things? Get rid of them. You're not using them." I'm like, "Yeah, but I will."
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. I know exactly where you're coming from.
Carson says, "Either of you plan to keep T. bambus, or the famous tarantula? It's only just been discovered, but it's been in the hobby for about 5 years."
That's the one. Yeah.
And strangely enough, that is one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about, actually, Dave, because it's been seen living in bamboo. Now, about 2 years ago, I was thinking cork bark is not sustainable. Bamboo is a little bit more. So, especially with how cheap you can buy it from garden centres. And people were telling me that there's certain tiny little creatures that can live inside bamboo that can affect your spider. That's one of the reasons why I didn't go into bamboo for things like pokies and
I've never heard that before.
And there's a tarantula that actually lives in Mindanao South, as well as, although it's an earth tiger, has been found living in bamboo.
Yeah, I think as regards to anything living in bamboo that's dangerous to your spider, I'd be pretty surprised if there was, because bamboo is such a solid thing. Nothing. It's not like anything gets impregnated in it. Yeah, I think you'll probably find that some old wise tale from somewhere or other.
I'm wondering, because the way you've seen them in the wild is the bamboo's been cut with a machete.
Yeah.
And then there's a spider with a load of web. So maybe it's been put there.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Wyverns. My dad has offered to build me a glass enclosure when mine grow on a bit, so I'm excited. That is precious, because in years to come, you will still have those memories, and you'll still have that in your collection, and you'll always be able to turn around and say, "My dad made that," which is exceptionally special.
I prefer glass over everything.
I mean, I love the glass. It cleans easy, doesn't it?
Yeah, lasts forever.
Oh, Tara's off. Oh, she's off to have a bath. That's my other half. Yeah, our little one's been on one today, so she's gone off to chill.
What we got there? Oh, someone got a picture of species black on an egg sac.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
That's a good one. True stories.
I've got Longotaris and a Hogna Miami at the moment. I've kept quite a few of the huntsmen. Dave, however, has got some special things going on, to say the least. And I don't really want him to tell you, because I'm so jealous. I'm not going to lie. I am so jealous.
Yeah, I am actually. If anyone out there has got a male Carolinensis Hogna carolinensis. I'm after one of them. I've got 2 females ready to go. I haven't got any other trues at the minute. Thing with trues is a lot of true spiders are reasonably short-lived. They're not as long-lived.
2 years max.
And also as well, you'll find a lot of true spiders, once paired, will drop multiple sacs and then die. So it's quite a fast turnover with true spiders. And I see a lot of people get a little bit frustrated and they think that maybe their care has been bad or whatever. But generally speaking, they're a fast-paced spider, you know.
Hadley, would you mind just putting your age in the chat as well?
Sorry?
Hadley's Inverts just asked him if he put his age in the chat. Because he's bred quite some exceptional spiders, and he is a young guy. But what's the project that you've got going on, Dave?
Japanese funnel webs. Yeah. We've been lucky enough to secure a reasonable amount of them. Bearing in mind that you can't get them anywhere, so they're one of these spiders that's very, very few and far between. You don't really see them in the trade very much, and if you do, they're gone instantly. And I think they're one of them spiders, I think, where if dealers get hold of them, they've already got a little list of people that they know full well will probably buy them straight away. So they don't always hit the market. So yeah, it's a bit of a they're a hard one. But we're hoping that maybe in a year to 18 months' time we would have successfully bred them, and then we can start make them a little bit more accessible for people.
The video's out on Dave's channel. It's exceptional.
Yeah, we've done a couple of videos on them. We've done some pairing videos which unfortunately weren't successful, and then we've done the new spiders coming in. So we've done a big unboxing and what have you, and explained a little bit about what we're trying to do. I think it's going to be a really, really exciting project, and hopefully we can shed some new light on them because there's so little understood about them.
Gemma says it was another amazing video.
Oh, thank you, Gemma.
Lee says looking forward. I'm looking forward to seeing them, but I am literally going to be jealous as hell while watching them. I ain't gonna lie. Lee says, would you say if you've got a slower growing specimen of a certain species, it's likely to be a female? He has 3 darlingers. One is growing extremely slower. The other 2 are now double the size. I had an OBT that grew really quick, and it was a mature male. Yeah,
I think generally speaking, the males grow faster. If they're kept on the same feeding regime, they'll mature because they obviously mature much quicker. So they tend to be larger. The interesting thing is actually if you look at if you've got a group of P. regalis, the Indian ornamental, and you grow them all along at the same feeding schedule, the whole lot. I've done it with mine. I had about 20 of them, and I fed them all exactly the same, even to the point where they had the same size food items. I was careful about what I gave them, and some of them literally shot off, and I was like, "Oh, this has got to be a female. This is going to be a female." They were huge, massive, and they carried a lot of weight. They were really looking big, chunky spiders, and then they molted all out to be males, and they went from this big, chunky spider to this skinny little legged thing, as a mature male. So it's quite it's deceiving when you get a lot of people. They'll put up photographs. They'll be like, "Oh, is this a male or a female? It's big, it's this and all that." You can't tell like that. You need to learn to be able to sex your spiders through your molts, and do that. We have got a video coming out very soon, actually, which covers exactly that.
A lot of people are asking if you've got C. versicolor slings for sale. Emma's please, she says, I'm hoping Dave will have a C. versicolor for my boy's sake.
I've actually got
no pressure.
I've got 2 verses that are on sacks at the moment, and they will be pulled end of the month. So I'm possibly going to pull one and possibly going to leave one in. So yeah, we should have some in the next 3 weeks or so, and then if you say 4 to 6 weeks, they'll be available.
Talk Fiction. I mean, also Hadley. I know him personally, so he is literally 15-year-old that is going to be massive in the hobby, especially what he's got going on. Talk Fiction says saw a Scott Blue. They then said it's actually a Scotia Blue for sale at a shop, saying it's a newly discovered. Any info? I'm assuming they're referring just to Balfours.
I would think so. Yeah.
They're not newly discovered now. The shop's probably blagging you, so you'll pay an extra like 40, 50 quid.
Yeah.
Just to give you an idea of some reptile shops. My missus went into a local one, I won't name them, and basically said there was a very small juvenile Metallica for £140. There was a Nando Chromatus, and her words were like this big, which is about 2 inches, for £120 as well. I was like, how do they do it?
Yeah, I think a lot of shops will be high priced, and it's generally speaking, it's not normally their regular thing. So they'll probably just have a few spiders and they just stick ridiculous prices on it. And someone who's ignorant to the values of things like that will come in, they'll see something, think, wow, look at that, and they'll spend the money and they'll do it.
That's the Island Blue is priced at $150. What's that, about 130 quid?
Yeah, somewhere around there, isn't it?
Yeah. I always go for the online bigger sellers because they're always cheaper. And if you have any issues, it gets sorted out quick.
Yeah.
Harry Jones says, my room on average is 22 degrees, and then I have a heat mat on the tank. I hope you've got a thermostat on the heat mat. In general, is this okay for most species? A heat mat isn't included with that current temperature. It depends on what you've got in that tank. Depends on what temperatures you should be looking at. I'll always say, and Dave will probably say the same, is if you're going to get a spider, just do a little Google, see if one of us two have done a video on it, and then you can find out your temps. Go on Arachno boards, which is online as well. They're really, really useful. And find out what temperatures that they should be kept at. If you're still unsure, look at the country of origin, and you can just by looking at the country from where, or the area where they come from, you can gain a lot of knowledge about temperatures throughout the year, average temperatures, and also humidity.
Yeah, I think you can look at the vast amount of stuff in the hobby will be fine between 75 and 80. Unless you're going for like mountainous spiders where they need it cooler. Quite a lot of your centipedes like it cooler. But again, most of them are sort of mountainous sort of regions and what have you. So, you don't need to think too far into it. People get a little bit, it gets a bit complicated for people, because they think too much of it. I say between 75 and 80 degrees Fahrenheit, sort of 26 degrees, you are not going to be far wrong. 25, 26, you'll be bang on. Personally, I don't like heat mats. If you're going to use one, you want to put it on the side, and you really do want it on a thermostat.
I think what Talk Fiction said to you there, Dave, is probably the best comment you're going to get all night. And that says, Dave, you're the reason that I've got 3 tarantulas, and my wife now thanks you. Have you ever been told, like, the wife or the partner says, you're the negative influence, or you're the bad influence?
I think actually I get a lot of comments about this sort of thing, and 9 times out of 10 they all come round, and they all end up sort of sharing, and they see a little bit of good in it, or they'll start watching a few of the videos and they're like, oh yeah, maybe, So yeah, Yeah. Keep working on it.
Scott is the reason I have 10 plus now. Yeah. Reptile Innovations is Derek. He's over in America and he actually builds some phenomenal reptile enclosures. And that's how we got chatting. And he come on a live stream. And since then, he's bought more and more spiders. He's got hooked. He's well worth a subscription as well. He is a top guy, very knowledgeable. A lot like Dave is for spiders, Derek is for reptiles, and slowly becoming the same with the spiders as well.
It's good. It's good to have a broad interest.
No worries, Acid. Thank you, mate.
Both going to be there.
Man, sorry, is that right? A converter man. I am rubbish with pronunciations. Will Scott or Dave be at the Taunton show this month?
If they let us in. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be good.
Rob says, "Hey Scott, I had to leave the hobby because of a missus. I don't have a missus now, so guess who's rejoining the hobby?" Cheers, Chris. Wow, Lizzie has seen Blondie slings being sold for £75.
That's about right.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, that's about their money.
I got mine in, so I think it was like a £75 mystery box from Creatures from the North. When they were doing they were guaranteeing a Blondie in a mystery box. So I was like, right.
Yeah. Yeah, that's about their money.
Oh, see you later, Matt. David boy. So somebody said before it even started that we should be calling Dave Uncle Dave.
Don't start that again.
Yeah, Uncle Dave. And Zach Mark, the Spider Guy, says, "Who did you get your mystery box off?" Oh, I missed that comment. What did they say?
Yeah, I didn't see that.
My girl hates me for getting tarantulas. I've generally said, if you can't deal though, tough shit, because I'm getting more.
That's brave talk.
There's a balance, and the more spiders you get, the more balance you have to throw over to your other half. Tara always says, "We've got no more space," and I'm like, "Yes, we have, because I've got 2 shelves that are empty." And what she's saying is, "Do not buy any more." And I just do. And now she's got to learn to understand the different lingo. She's just, in other words, she's just gave up. Rob's in. Grandad Dave. No, Dave ain't that old to be Grandad. It's Uncle Dave. There's a good one. I have 50 tarantulas now. They help with my mental health. It took me a year to find a carer that didn't run out of the house screaming.
Nice.
Ooh, the daughter's just come walking through. Oh, yeah, please. I bought her fake flowers and told her I had to use some for my enclosure. Oh, that's a bit close, isn't it?
What was that?
Talk Fiction says, I bought her fake flowers and told her that he wanted some for his enclosures.
I think down my neck of the woods, they'd call that an Indian giver.
I'd be a dead man walking. Reptile Innovations. My wife just says "fucking Scott" and walks away. Oh dear.
Your reputation precedes you.
We're just passionate, aren't we, Dave? We're just very, very passionate. Luckily, his wife's in America, so I'm pretty clear over here at the moment.
Yeah.
Fenton Spider says, "Hey, hi guys. Do you think you'd ever move a bit more into reptiles? That's what's happening to me. Started with spiders." Yes, definitely. Myself, Reptile Innovations are trying to bring the 2 communities, as well as a lot of other people in both communities, we're all coming a bit more close. Dave is obviously, he's never had anything to do with reptiles, have you, Dave?
No, just a little bit. Yeah. Yeah. I don't. It's a bit of a struggle, to be fair. I do look at things, especially like the emerald tree boas and stuff like that. I'm often tempted to perhaps do again. I'm trying to stay away from reptiles because I've done so many and I've bred an awful lot of them. So it's sort of they're a cool thing.
We've got snakes. I've got a crested gecko, tokay gecko, a colony of mourning geckos, a pair of dwarf sun gazers, the European-eyed lizard, a Yemen chameleon in the other room, as well as a dwarf monitor, Aki dwarf monitor lizard as well.
Yeah.
A lot of that's down to people like Reptile Innovations and Northern Exotics. Let me just scroll at the chat because Mark the Spider Guy dropped in a question. Mark says, Uncle Dave, I got a spider in my last mystery box labelled as Formictopus species Puru, and I can't find any information on it. Do you have any information? I do apologise, you hear the kettle boiling in the background.
No, I've actually, this came up a little while ago. Someone else asked me about this. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with that because that has come up once or twice before. It's not something I've kept. So I don't know. Although, to be fair, normally you'll find most of these you can keep them the same as you do others in the same family. You won't be far out. So that's what I would do. If I can't find any information, I normally look for the closest thing that I can find, and then I start at that, and then I just monitor how the spider goes, and then tweak it here and there, depending on what I'm doing.
Just before we get on to Hadley's, Emma says, Scott, what would you say your saying is? I'm Scott, and these are the inverts. I'll probably say all sorts of stuff during the videos as well. But Hadley's invert says, Dave, if you have bred baboons before, I know they become eggs with legs quite early. So when should I pull my H species black sack? It's been 5 days. I've been to Dave with a similar question recently because an egg sack was pulled a couple of days early, and they'd gone on arachno boards, as everybody does, and got the 4 week, and 4 weeks seems to be the pull date. Everybody goes for that 4 weeks mark, and a lot of us just ends up with eggs instead of eggs with legs. Yeah,
I think this is actually something I mentioned on a couple of my last sack pulling jobs. It's become sort of a general thing now to pull your sacks at 30 to 35 days, which is fine. That's all well and good if you're set up to be able to deal with either eggs with legs or M1s. If you've got the kind of setup that you can deal with that, then there's not a problem. If you've got literally just got a spider and it's dropped a sack and you've got nothing else, and this is new, it's all a bit of a learning game, then I would suggest leaving it in there to hatch actually in the enclosure with the female, purely because you will see them spiderlings when they're ready to be taken away. So you can then catch them up, pot them up, do what you want to do with them. If you take them early, then you need to provide an environment that they're going to survive in and they're going to flourish in. So that's the main thing to look at. If you're looking at your big bird eaters, anything like that, I would say 6 weeks onwards before you take them. 6 to 8 weeks, and you'll probably still only have N1s. So it's something worth thinking about. The smaller spiders, a lot of your baboons in that, they do go quicker. So 35 to 40 days, and you'll be pretty much bang on your money, really.
It's a shame. the person I mentioned has got some experience behind them, so they're all good. But for somebody that's like relatively new to the hobby and wants to give it a go, and like I said, that 4-week mark seems to be the benchmark, and they go, "Oh, it's been 4 weeks. It's eggs. Where's the legs?" Bit of a shame.
It's because the problem is you're putting 30 days onto every species. It doesn't work. So like a lot of your big spiders, they all take longer to grow and do everything because they're that much bigger. So yeah, it is a case of, again, we have to sort of look at it with a little bit of foresight and try and work it out from that. But yeah, it's difficult. If you're new to it all, then it's a very easy trap to fall into.
Reese is just replying to Forza. Forza says every time he sees a bit of dead wood, he thinks about Dave. And Reese then goes on to say, after seeing your videos out hunting for moss and sticks and earth, I've been collecting like crazy.
Do you know what?
Around, there was a big thing that if you collect leaf litter, you've got to put it in the oven, you've got to put it in the freezer. If you collect any timber, you've got to put it in the freezer. You've got to put it in the oven, you've got to put it back in the freezer, then you've got to put it in bleach, then back in the freezer, then back in the oven. And Dave literally come along and went, "This is straight from the woods and it's going straight in the enclosure."
Yeah.
What's the problem? Certainly opened my eyes, because I was always worried about bringing stuff in from outside into the enclosures, and made massive, massive difference to my hobby. Literally just being able to go out and get moss and everything else. That's a massive thank you to you, Dave, for that.
I think one of the big things with it is now you can plan a rehouse or a new enclosure build, and it not need to cost you any money. You can literally go out, collect your bits, come home, set it up. And it's all done and dusted. And I sort of I've been doing this for many, many years, and I used to keep an awful lot of amphibians. Some like real easy stuff, and some really, really difficult stuff. And they were all kept on wild collected materials. And as you probably know, amphibians are one of the most delicate things to deal with. They make spiders look real hardcore.
Yeah.
So if your amphibians can get by on it, spiders ain't got any worries whatsoever.
My mate, he's got a Malawi tank, and across the top of the Malawi tank, he's got like a floating platform that absorbs some of the water, and he's got moss, he's got a fern growing on it, and that's all from over the woods. He's got a bear, a cuddly teddy bear that he found out in the woods that was covered in moss, and that sits up there as well. and the fish are doing fine. Hey, Beth and his spiders. Noah Roy, he did say hello earlier as well, Dave.
Hello, Noah.
He says, here we go. He says, what is Dave's favourite true spider?
Oh.
Dave has my favourite. He has a lot of my favourite.
Yeah.
And I'll say it again, I'm a little bit jealous.
I really do. I do like, and I find intriguing, the Australian redbacks. I don't know what it is about them, but there's something about them that I find very, very interesting. I really do like them. Obviously, the funnel webs, they get a huge vote. Yeah, I don't know if I've got an absolute favourite. I like them all too much. There's too many different things. You see something in all of them, really. But yeah, I guess in the collection is probably the funnel webs and the wolves. I like all the wolves as well. So they're a very similar sort of thing, but they make for interesting things to keep.
I do like the longer Taris.
Mm-hmm.
But the Gigas that you've got is the pinnacle for me. I'm looking forward to a year or two when you've got a lot of them and getting some off you. I'll probably buy a fair few, to be fair. Yes.
Well, hopefully, all being well, we'll succeed. We'll see.
Oh, Grant says, where are you, Grant? There you are. Best first time spider. Oh God, we're back to that one.
Yeah.
That is
Oh.
one of the easiest questions to answer and one of the hardest. Because I think we mentioned this before, haven't we, Dave? It depends on the person a lot.
Yeah.
If you're new to animals, completely new, then you've got to be kind of thinking along the lines of a brachy or even a versi, or an avic. It's very difficult. It depends what your tastes are as well, because it's all right saying curly hair, but you might not want that type of a spider. You might want something more colourful. What do you reckon, Dave?
Yeah, it is. It is purely down to personal choice. I think you've got to look around. It's like we were saying earlier on. Ask yourself a few personal questions before you go and buy something. And find out where you sit with the whole idea of it all. And then that will dictate to some extent the kind of spiders that you'll end up looking for. So it will narrow down your choices. And then from that, you can then choose something that you like the look of. There's no point buying something if it doesn't do it for you, because you'll never really get into it. It's the weirdest thing is we all end up, when we start the hobby, we're all looking for that colourful spider, and we're all looking for that big spider, something that's a bit impressive.
Nothing wrong with an LP as a beginner spider.
Yeah, perfect.
If you want something big and hench and something you're going to see a lot of, there's nothing wrong. And LPs are reasonably cheap.
Yeah, very, very cheap and very easy to look after as well. Very, very easy. So there's so many things, and you'll find as you become more adept at what you're doing and everything else, you'll find your choices will change drastically.
Oh, let me just scroll back up to Bethany says, Dave, have you ever kept jumping spiders? If so, which ones? If not, why not?
Hello, Beth. I'll be honest, they don't really do it for me. I've had so many people. I've even had people offer to buy them for me to give them a go. I did get some Dihylis, the eyelash jumping spider. I had some of them, and I guess the initial excitement lasted about 30 seconds, and then I was sort of like, why did I do that?
My other half really likes them. We've had a few PWGs in the past, and she just falls in love with a jumping spider like that. She really does.
I think, to be fair, they are quite amazing, and they're quite cute. And maybe it's
impressive.
Maybe it's because my eyes are fading, and I'm not too good at looking at very small things. Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, they don't. They just don't interest me, I'm afraid.
Nigel Clark. Hi, my first tarantula was a chili rose. Have they been renamed, as I don't hear about them now?
No, you just don't see them anymore.
Creatures from the north are breeding brackies like there's no tomorrow at the moment. So if you check their website, they've probably got slings, I would have thought. But Mexico stopped the export of tarantulas out of Mexico. So there has been quite a drop in sort of decent sized ones, let's say, to rebuild their wild populations, because it was dwindling at one point.
Yeah.
So Mexico made a good decision to say we're not exporting anymore for a good couple of years. We're going to rebuild, which is, I think it's a really, really good move. So if you do see any for sale, always double check that they're actually captive bred. So then you know that you've actually got legal spiders.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna go into something like that, you want to just stick with buying from reputable, retailers.
Oh, Bethany's pairing hers. Hadley Inverts, he's pairing his pretty soon as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a good move when countries do go, do you know what, we are dwindling, the populations of these spiders are dwindling, we are not exporting. I think that's a positive mood. I can see it kind of happening with Heterometrus, the scorpions, as well as the Asian forest scorpions, because the wild caught ones now, they're getting quite a lot of feedback that they're dwindling at the moment as well, which is a shame.
You've also got to remember as well that they're actually part of the food chain as well.
Yes.
There's more of them eaten by locals than there goes into the pet trade. So, it's and this is one of the things that's often hit animals globally when new laws are made and different bits and pieces and that are put into place, legislation and what have you, and you find, a lot of it's put there because of maybe the pet trade or whatever, but quite often the biggest cause of the decimation of these different species is the locals actually using them as food, and that's one of the biggest problems.
I used to watch a lot of documentaries as a kid with my stepdad. It's one of the things he passed on to me was a love for natural documentaries, and I always remember seeing a group of villagers. I couldn't even tell you what forest it was or where it was, but literally it was quite a decent sized tarantula, putting their finger on the back of it like this, folding its legs up, wrapping it up in a vine leaf, putting it on a fire, and then 2 seconds later they're eating it.
Yeah,
I always remember that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I always forget about that as well,
Oh yeah, this we done when I was in with the zoos. They done some of the small marsupials and some of the small deer and stuff like that are endangered. When they actually came out of the jungles, they used to find an awful lot of them were hung up on the meat markets, and it's their staple food. So it's very, very difficult. It's not always down to habitat loss and things like that. Sometimes it is just purely getting eaten out of house and home, and it's difficult to change a culture that has been eating these things for so many generations to suddenly tell them no, you can't. It'll be a bit like
somebody coming here and saying you can't eat fish and chips.
Yeah. I mean, it is exactly something like that. I mean, it's it'd just be unheard of. You just couldn't comprehend it, could you?
My brachyhemorrhoid.
From Lee Welch. Oh yeah, you picked it up.
Yeah,
that's a really, really interesting thing there. He's saying that it hasn't eaten for 5 months. It's got water, and its abdomen is the right size. Could it be a megalong premole? It's 2.5 inches. Right. Well, you basically this is this is one of the things that you find with the brachypelmas, and this comes back to what we were saying earlier on about feeding regimes. We overfeed our spiders generally, so we worry that 1 week it doesn't feed, and this is something I keep reiterating on my videos. Is you need to look at your spider to decide whether it needs feeding or not. And just because this one hasn't eaten for 5 months is no big deal. You're looking at its abdomen and it's still about the right size. That is your indication as to whether you've got a problem or not. So if the abdomen is still a good size and it's still looking fine, then you can relax. It's got fresh water. That's all it requires, and it can go. I've had my Cancerides that went for over 18 months without feeding. Didn't touch a thing and never lost an ounce of condition. Nothing. Look exactly the day it did when it started its fast. So it's something to for people, especially new people in the hobby. You've got to get your head around the fact that it doesn't require 3 meals a day. It's look at the abdomen. Let that tell you what is necessary. What the bleeding hell's going on there?
It happens on lives every now and again. Yeah, you get some strange bots come in and type all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
Block the bots. Oh yeah, moderators are pretty damn hot. To be fair, I think they got to it before I did.
Yeah. So Lee, your question, I wouldn't worry about it.
Plus, it's a brachypelma. They're slow growing anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, I feed my larger tarantulas. I'll go for every 2 weeks. Smaller stuff I try and do every week. Brachy's, I'm lucky if they'll eat once a month for me.
Yeah. I mean, I literally we put a video out Monday of a Balfouri rehouse. We done a group of Balfouris, and they all come out of there as plump as anything. And yet I can go for weeks where I don't feed them. Literally, I just forget all about them.
I see all these feeding videos of Balfouris. I never ever see my Balfouris eat any of the food. It disappears, but I never ever see them go for it. And mine are all large juveniles now.
Yeah.
Chris says, Dave, can you tell me more about the Mexican fire leg?
Yeah, it's got 8 of them. It's hairy. What do you want to know? What would you like to know? They're basically they're a real nice, easy going spider. Good beginner spider.
Night, Greg.
Yeah, good night, Greg. They're actually they're one of the spiders that I would recommend to a beginner because they've got it all going on. You know, they're really pretty. They're easy to look after. They're reasonably docile. They do kick hairs a little bit, but then if you're not tormenting it, you shouldn't really have to worry about that. Yeah, I think they're a really cool spider. Actually, they're one of my favourites. I don't go much on brachypelmas, but they are one of my favourites.
I've got a few. I've got quite a few smaller ones, and I know I'm going to be about 70 by the time they're adults, which is a bit of a pain in the backside. But they're just cheaper to get when they're small, and they're captive bred. Yeah. Wyvern says my wee curly hair has blocked its burrow off. It's going to molt? ?
Quite possible.
Yeah.
The big thing to do now is it's very, very it's very easy to jump the gun after a week and think, crikey, why ain't it come out? What you got to think of is that might well disappear for a month or more. So just put it on the shelf, forget about it, because bottom line is, if there is something wrong, you're not really going to be able to do anything about it anyway. So just leave it be, wait for it to come back out, and chances are you'll be happy one day. You'll look in there and it'll have kicked the molt out, and all will be good.
Just before we get to Mark's question, Gemma says, Scott, your Balfour is communal. They are at the moment. Me and Dave have probably got different opinions on them, for definite, because I started off with 14, then I went down to 9, now I'm on 6, so I am taking mine out and separating them, and I won't be trying a communal again, I don't think, with Balfours. But you've had quite good success with yours, haven't you?
Yeah, I've just we done a video on Monday, and they're all Balfouri that we bred here in the Beastie Room, and we put 34 at 1 centimetre, and we put them inside a 20 by 20 by 20 Komodo, and they've been in there, I can't remember offhand, but I think it's about 15 months. It seems to come, about 15 months, maybe a year, 15 months. And we pulled out 31 out of 34. And they're all now 2-inch juvies. So we ended up with, to give you an idea, we had 31 2-inch juvies in a 20 by 20 by 20.
I think that was my mistake, is putting them in a bigger enclosure. I think I should, so they can get their own territories. I should have kept it small so they can't get their own territories. So their territory is communal, full stop. I think that was the biggest mistake I made with the Balfouris.
Yeah, if you do a communal, you want them rubbing shoulders, really.
Yeah. Maybe I'll try again. Maybe. We'll see. Mark the Spider Guy says, Dave, is there a species that you wouldn't attempt to breed? Wouldn't want to attempt to breed? That is a good question.
LPs. Yeah.
Never get rid of them. Yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't. I think things like your geniculata, chromatus, all of those types of spiders that had big clutches, you can you'll find a market for them. So it's not such a bad thing should you breed one. With things like LPs, you often find people struggle to get rid of them, and even the dealers don't want them. You know, you can offer them 500-600 for nothing, and 9 times out of 10 they won't. So yeah, I think if there was anything that I wouldn't breed, it probably would be an LP. Yeah.
Is Balfouri a good choice for your first old world tarantula?
Definitely. Yeah.
Dan today says you get them for free with orders, LPs.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with an LP. We've got quite a few actually. I do feel sorry for the male though because he won't breed. So you know he'll die without.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. They're a cool spider. I've actually got one here, but I wouldn't choose to breed them. You know, I wouldn't go down that route of I'm going to grow some on. I'm going to breed these. There's far more rewarding spiders to breed than an LP. So, you know, if you're new in the game and you want to breed something, then I would look at, say, Cambridgei, Erminia, Balfouri, anything like that, and you'll get a much better thing out of it. You know, you will hopefully you'll
OBTs. OBT.
Yeah, they're another core one. There's always a market for OBTs. There's always people that want them, but you need to. If you're gonna breed something, you need to be responsible about what you do with the outcome. And when you're stuck with 2,000 plus babies and no one wants them, it becomes a little bit of an issue.
Free Lunchify says, is Balfouri a good choice for your first old world?
Yeah, definitely.
I would never have thought about it, but thinking about it, yeah, they're quite. Oh, I don't use the word docile with an old world. Do you know what I mean? I'll probably get shot.
It's funny. It's funny because the video that went out Monday, you'll see me that's a 2020 cube. That's only a small cube, and there's 31 in there, and I'm in there with my fingers moving it all about and taking stuff out. And there was lots and lots of people commented on the comments that, I wish you wouldn't put your hands in there, and you should wear gloves, and you should do this and you should do that. But generally speaking, although they are an old world, it's understanding your spider and understanding what creates aggression, what creates fear, and everything that you do creates a reaction. Now, I know from when I'm dealing with mine, in that situation, the only thing they're interested in is hiding. They're not interested in biting my fingers or doing anything else. So I know how much I can get away with in respect to that. So I think you can, as a beginner spider, they are absolutely ideal as a beginner old world because they have got a little bit of thing about them, but generally speaking, they're really cool.
Again, I think the ability to do that comes in time, doesn't it? You can't just go get yourself a Balfouri communal from the word go and go, well, Dave put his hand in, so can I. Yeah. Dave was saying Dave spent such a long time with spiders. Let's face it, he understands spiders better than 95% of us. So his perception of the spider, what it's going to do, how it's going to act, is absolutely on point. I couldn't predict Balfour's or even think about doing that. If I had Dave's understanding, yeah, definitely.
I
think something like that for me will come in time, just like it will for you guys as well.
You need to as you spend more and more time doing things, you will learn the different reactions and what causes them reactions in your spiders, and you'll find every different group of spiders, every different species of spider reacts in a different way to the same thing.
Yeah,
and this is where time spent will end up becoming your friend. And I mean, I'm in that enviable position in life at the moment that I can open up any one of my tanks and I know exactly what my spider's going to do, because I know how that species behaves to a set way of doing things, and that will come for everybody, and I always think you don't need to have been in the hobby for 40 odd years to gain this information. You can learn it really, really quick. You just need to ask the right questions. And the biggest thing that I find with people and the problems they have with spiders is they don't. You need to understand that spider is not going to kill you, and it's got no intention of actually causing you any harm. All it wants to do is be left alone or hide or whatever. And you can learn very, very quickly how to deal with these things in a nice, calm way, and you will get much more out of it. So it's don't ever feel that you need to be doing this for 20, 30 years before you start becoming proficient at it. That's not the case. You can do it much, much quicker.
Lee said he bought a communal off you and he's waiting for the male to mature so he can pair them up.
Where's this?
He says, I've got an adult female Balfouri waiting to breed with the males when they mature from the communal I bought from Dave.
Ah.
That could have been a little while ago.
Yeah.
Chris says, any suggestions for Balfouri? Paired her in November. Still hasn't dropped an egg sac or molted. Should I try rehousing her to help with dropping?
You can do.
I'm just about to do that with the vegans. Is rehouse. Thank you, Leah.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, sometimes you can. A rehouse will do that. It might trigger them. What I found with a Balfouri is to get mine to drop, I up the humidity slightly.
Oh. And
that generally throws them into it. They normally go over then. But what I tend to do is I will feed them. So I feed them up. Once I've paired them, I start to feed them up. And then as their conditioning goes forward, you'll find that they'll start to refuse the food. As they start to refuse the food, I up the humidity, and then normally they'll lock themselves down, and then they'll go for it. So that's what I generally do.
Chris says she's not had nothing to eat for over a month.
Yeah. So if she's refusing food, then yeah, I would up the humidity a little bit. So what you want to do is literally the area that she's made as a home. Go to the opposite side of the enclosure, and then just soak a corner, and then just let it all dry out again, and then soak it, let it dry out. It might take a week, depends on what your situation is. In my room, it dries out pretty quick. So you have to go with what your situation is giving you. So if you're much cooler, then you're not going to get the same responses as it is.
Are we back to the dreaded word humidity?
Well, yeah, you are in effect because
that's my favourite subject, isn't it, Dave?
Yeah. You're using the humidity to create a scenario. So along with heat and humidity, you can you'll get her to drop.
D's Professor Critters says, Dave, have you ever opened up a fully matured egg sac and have actually had slings come out? Happened with his first, which was an Aphnopalma.
Yeah, we've had that. Yeah, literally opened them up, and it would have been like another day or two, and they would have come out themselves anyway. Yeah, that's always a bonus. When you do that, that's an absolute bonus.
I think Chris says about a 6-foot fish tank. I think is that a marine tank as well? 10 litres a week. Wow.
That is huge.
That is very impressive. My
I've got a 6 foot.
Quarter of an inch a week.
Yeah, I've got a 6 foot, and I don't get to lose quarter of an inch. Would probably take a couple of months.
6 foot. Camera lady says it's only 1 foot. You must pass on everybody's love to camera lady as well.
Yeah.
Big respect for your wife. Oh, no, sorry, I got that wrong. It's actually a tropical fish tank with a puffer fish in there.
You can't be losing 10 litres a week.
660 litre and 280 litre sump. You'd be losing a little bit out of the sump, but not much. You got the plastic cover that goes on the top.
Yeah, you want to cover your sump, really.
Yeah. D says, camera lady.
I think if you think you're losing 10 litres a week, I would look for a leak. Definitely.
That is a lot.
Yeah.
Do you know what the biggest leak in my fish tank was? I'm a 5 foot. I had 5 foot by 3 foot high, and it was 1 foot back. So I kept it mainly as a breeding tank. So I put breeders in there. I came into this is about 10 years ago. I went into my kitchen. It was flooded. I was like, no, the tank. There's a crack in the tank. No crack whatsoever in the tank. I'd done a water change, did all the cleaning, turned the air pump off, forgot to turn the air pump back on again. And it actually smoothened itself. Yeah, I was like, no way.
I think we've all been there and done that.
A tiny little airline. It's impressive the amount of water that can siphon for 8 hours.
Yeah, you don't help because it's right at the bottom as well.
Oh, Crypto Bag says more of these live streams. I can't have Dave on every week.
No,
he's literally one of the busiest men I've ever met in my life. The guy works extremely hard through the day, and he works extremely hard to get these videos out for you guys as well. I would love to have Dave on literally every week. Trust me. Literally every few weeks, I'm like, Dave, do you want to do another live?
We do enjoy them. I must admit, we do enjoy them.
It's a variation in questions and the stuff you get, not just spider related.
Yeah,
it's always good.
Who's got the next questions?
Drop them into the comments. Would be absolutely awesome. For anybody new to my live streams, the Blue Heart is all about autism awareness, because there's more people out there affected by it, whether they've got children or themselves that are affected with it. And I like to try and normalise it, if you like. I know it sounds strange, normalise it by advertising it, but you know that's how it is.
Well, I see there, Spider Kings. He wants to breed GBBs.
Spider King. Massive congratulations to Spider King. He's just got engaged.
Yeah, we saw that.
So I was so happy to see that. Absolutely awesome. And you know, I hope a few of us get invitations. Be nice to meet you first, though. I must admit.
All I would say is, if you want to breed your GBBs, I hope you got a lot of patience.
I did a live stream. 6 hours later, he still hasn't gone anywhere near her.
Yeah, they're. I've just recently done mine, and it took a long time. I think if going forward, if you're going to breed them, I would put them in something really big and just let them go. Forget about them.
I've done that with a couple of males. It is like when they take a long time, it's literally like you said, leave the male in there. If the female munches him, as harsh as it sounds, that's literally what the male is designed to do. The male is there to be bred, to be munched by the female, and by him being munched leads to a lot healthier egg sac.
Yeah.
For the Cat says, good night, Uncle Dave and Scott. Love from Luca, Sam, and your number one fan, Catatonio.
Hey.
Oh,
Bye, guys.
Awesome. See you later. Hey, Thomas.
There we go.
Ooh, that's a cracking question. Question. I like the huntsman. The Australian huntsman. The scientific name escapes me. It's one of the only spiders that I'd be quite wary of on rehousing more than others. You know.
Yeah.
One of my friends is over in Australia, and he says he's petrified of spiders. He said the huntsman, the big huntsman, because Australia's got the world's biggest huntsman, haven't they?
Yeah.
He likes those to be in his garage because he says they kill the redbacks. They will actively hunt a redback, which is pretty cool, pretty amazing. Hey, Johan.
Yeah, I've been asked this a lot lately about Australian spiders. Yeah, I think of course they've also got the Sydney funnel web.
Oh, I hope I'm saying this. Converterna man. I'm a single dad with a special needs daughter, so she will be joining me in a wheelchair on the trip to Taunton show. Come and find me, mate. I'll see what we've got. Might have something for you.
Yeah, I said to anyone in the chat, I shall be at the Taunton show. So yeah, if you see us, definitely come and say hello.
Dave didn't have an option.
No,
you lot bullied him last live stream.
Yeah, I've been bullied.
Thomas, morning geckos, mate. I know they're small, brown, and boring, but we love them. We absolutely love them. Hey, Katrina. Katrina said, I think she said that twice now. I do apologise. The chat sometimes does go that quick.
It's difficult to keep up with, isn't it?
Yeah. There's a lot of love going on for the Sydney funnel web.
Yeah, but is it for the right reasons?
I like the web. You think funnel web. Any funnel web spider the webbing is absolutely amazing. And if you can't see the spider, and then when you put a piece of food on it, it just goes woof, woof.
Yeah,
it's gone.
They got some of their mouse spiders are really impressive. They're very much like the funnel webs.
Amy Bolton says she'll tug your t-shirt. Aww. Do not be shy in saying hello.
No.
I will say I sometimes look a little bit spaced out at shows just because there's a lot of people there, but do not be shy in coming and saying hello. We absolutely love it. I should imagine Dave will be stood there with literally a queue of people. Dave. I don't know if that's more. It's probably not just how big your channel's got, Dave. I think that's probably just because they want to come and say hello to Dave the man, which is fast becoming bigger than any channel out there, I think.
Yeah, we're very lucky at the moment. We're we've got a lot of real supporters.
It's not luck. I think there's boundaries and blocks that have been in the spider hobby for a long time, and you've literally just come along, removed them, and said, no, anything is possible. Like I said, the fact that you went out and got stuff from the wild and brought it straight into the enclosures opened my mind up completely. And prior to seeing some of your videos for sorrels, I was like, yeah, you have to keep them in this much. That's it. And then there's Dave in this much on a slope and all the rest of it. And it's like, oh, and they're breeding.
Yeah.
And then when you talk to Dave and you find out why, it's like it all slots into place. So I think you deserve more subscribers myself, Dave, because what you bring to the hobby is literally, almost futuristic.
I think as long as people are getting something out of it, we'll keep doing it. It's that's the main thing.
Very modest.
Selfie.
I took Vanessa's comment off a bit too quick. Sorry, Vanessa Smith said, I went up to Dave at Storehome in October. I think he thought I was going to run him over in my wheelchair.
I actually remember Vanessa. Yes.
I'm going. Dave's going to Taunton. Bethany that was in the chat a little while ago. She's going. Mark the Spider's guy's going. Lou Pang's going. Kristen Spiller in the chat. He's going. I think Leo, are you still around? Unusual Pets. I'm sure Leah's going as well. If not, then we need to push her and gently push Leah in the right direction to be going as well. Leah is another YouTube channel, and she's absolutely lovely lady. Definitely worth going and saying hello to her at shows. She's literally just like, come and give a cuddle. She's one of them. She's lovely. Yes, she is coming. Make sure you give Leah a subscription as well. She like I said, she's another very, very close friend of mine.
I see my old mate Paul Crouch is back in the chat. He's chief of crowd control.
Oh, I've seen it. I'm Dave's chief of crowd control. Good luck. Good luck.
We ought to wish him well, actually, because he's been hit with COVID for this last week, and he's not been his normal chirpy self. He's been pretty rough. So get well soon, mate. We need you back out there.
Yes. Can somebody deal with that? I'll do it. Hi, Juicer. Thanks, Scott. I'm more of an annoying family member than a friend. That's very true. Very true. I've got a lot of love for Leah. Let me just scroll back up. Does anyone know if there's any shows up north near County Durham? I think, is it the Barnsley shows north, isn't it? Up north somewhere?
I don't know, because I to be totally honest, I only really follow the ones that I can get to, really.
The best thing to do is just do a quick search on Facebook for the Invert Shows UK, and that's some of the main ones. I highly recommend, no matter where you are in the country, trying to get down to BTS. And I've said this a few times. BTS is in Leamington. If you're going to get a hotel, don't look in Leamington. Look where I am, which is in Coventry. It'll be half the price, and it's literally a 15-minute drive, and you're there. I think there'll be a few of us driving from Coventry, so I'll quite happily drive past whatever hotel you're at, so we can all go in a convoy. Not an issue. Lee says, I'm at work for the Taunton show. Gutted. Lee, would you like me to phone up work on the day, pretend I'm your dad, and say, look, Lee's ill. He can't make it today. And then you go in. What you need to do is save up your sick days, so when you have a day off for a show, they don't think anything of it.
That's it. Where there's a will, there's a way.
And Katrina, I'm trying to get a lift to BTS. Katrina, whereabouts in the country are you? And we'll put the shout out now. If you want, maybe somebody's going from your area. Amy says, I'm easily recognised. I am short. We'll have a young man with ear defenders, and we'll have a big boot on. Oh, yeah, because she's damaged her ankle recently, bless her. Get well soon. Mark says, definitely going to Bristol. Got a stag the day before Taunton show, so won't be sober enough to go to Taunton, says Reese. That could be an enjoyable day, though. Remember, I take a video camera. Oh, Spider King! I'm hoping to be at Taunton, so hopefully see you both there, Scott and Dave. That would be awesome.
Yeah, make sure you give us a shout, Jay, if you see us.
Yeah, I've been chatting on and off to Jay for probably about 2 years and not met him. Birmingham, Katrina, Kristen Spiller will pick you up. His name, as it's spelt there, is the same on Facebook. If you drop him a message on Facebook, he's completely safe. He normally picks me up and gives me a lift to a lot of the shows. So he'll probably be picking me up at the same time, I would have thought. So there you go. You're going. Leah Mark is going to Taunton. You go to the Scottish show. Oh, that's Glasgow.
Cool.
You see,
day.
Anton's up there. And I've been talking to Anton for such a long time. And then you've got Toby's Exotics, who's a young lad. And I've been chatting to him for near on 2 years. And I kind of think it's a good excuse to go and meet a couple of the Scottish friends. I don't know.
A long way, isn't it?
But it is. Eli, excuse me, any advice on knowing when a female tarantula is mature enough to breed?
Whoa.
Depends on species. It really does. The best thing to do is keep, because Dave breeds quite a lot, is keep checking Dave's channel and comparing your female to the females he's breeding at the time. And hopefully hopefully the one that you want to breed, Dave's already done maybe I've done the same.
One of the simplest ways of checking your females is to catch them up and put them in a cricket tub or something you can see through. And then if you look at their epigastric farrow, you'll see on a mature one, it's normally dark.
How do you know that?
If it's light coloured, then it's normally immature.
How do you know that? Where did you find that from?
I have no idea. It's probably something I'll just...
Species. And Dave just picks this absolute golden nugget out of his mind and goes, well...
I've looked at a lot of epigastric farrows.
Do you want to just go over that again, Dave, just so we've all got it? That is absolute golden.
It's all about the colour. Yeah. And you can see it actually as well. You can see it in the molts as well. So if you look at an adult one, you'll often see that they're like a bronzy colour, dark, bronzy, shiny colour. But if they're young, they tend to be opaque, clear.
Eli, thanks, Dave, for the spider sorcery information. I'll tell you what, like I said, that is golden, because I've had a lot of conversations with a lot of more experienced people than myself in the hobby, and they've all kind of said it depends on species. Always depends on what species it is. You have to measure the abdomen. If it's over 4 centimeters, if it's this, if it's that, blah de blah de blah, and then Dave just gives you the absolute breeding golden nugget. And I'm 100% now convinced that a lot of breeders will withhold that information as well. Mr. Spider PL says hello all the way from Poland.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for tuning in. There is some amazing Polish breeders out there, I've got to say.
Yep. I think Europe in general is a real hotspot for spider knowledge.
Germany.
Wow.
Yeah. Leah says, Scott, possible upgrade to the sexy microphone. I said microphone instead of microscope on one live stream, Dave. Probably about 10 years ago, you know. And
you're still paying for it.
Yeah, it makes me smile every time though.
I've done the same thing in actually one of my videos, and I was explaining about a bioactive enclosure, and for some reason I called it biohazard.
Good band, very good band.
Yeah, and I still carried on with my thing, and my wife turned around and she's like, "You said biohazard." I was like, "Did I?" Oh, I've got a bit of a soft spot for zombies as well, so it's probably come from that. I don't know what it was, but yeah.
Mark Spider Guy just put his channel link into the comments. I said, Mark's a lovely guy. His videos, you feel like you're in his house with him.
Yeah.
Steve says, I'm a mature 46-year-old, but my epistatic furrow is light. Spooky Steve.
All I can say is you need to get out a little bit more, Steve.
Are you interested in breeding any of the endangered species, says Frill Lunchy Fight. A lot of them are fast becoming endangered. And let me just touch on that bioactive just for 1 second, then I'll get back to that, because that bioactive, I had to apologise for somebody because they were saying, "Oh, I'm setting up a bioactive," and I said, "Well, it's not. It's pseudo-naturalistic," and they went, "But nobody in the hobby really will understand what that kind of means." And I was like, "Yeah, they will," because you just. Then he was like, "No, you don't. You set it up as bioactive, and you say it's bioactive because." Not a lot of people will understand the pseudo-naturalistic, which means it looks like the wild, but it's not bioactive yet. And I was like, you know what, you're right. I overthink stuff like that so much. Going back to the endangered species, I think the more people breed them, the better. But what a lot of people, including myself, instead of started really looking at it, you still do need wild caught in the hobby because you need that DNA. You need fresh DNA to come in. That for me is the issue. That's got to be regulated some way.
Yeah, I think if it's a real thin line, because we wouldn't have a hobby if it wasn't for wild caught specimens. And the only thing that we can do now as hobbyists is to increase our knowledge and start producing more of our own spiders. There will always be wild caught specimens coming in, but the more stuff that we can breed captive wise, the more we can flood those into the market, which will take the pressure off. And eventually you'll find a lot of the common stuff that's being dealt like that, they won't need to collect anymore. So they'll only be collecting the things that aren't being bred. And that's why it's important that we try and breed everything that we do. And I understand that not everybody is either geared up to breed or wants to breed even. It's not for everybody. But for those that are interested in it, you can play a really, really big part in the hobby. Just by producing 1 or 2 sacks a year. You can do an awful lot. So it's and plus the fact it's a really, really cool side to the hobby, to what you're doing.
Katrina says it's the same with the snake breeding. I think it's the same for any sort of animal breeding. Leah from Unusual Pets has dropped her channel link down into the comments as well. Go give her a subscription. Again, she'll be at Taunton. She's absolutely lovely. She's again another one of my exceptionally close friends / families. She's absolutely awesome. Carson says, what makes it bioactive though? Microfauna? I generally, with my bioactives, I go, the moss is growing, the plants are growing, the animals are doing well. Now it's bioactive. That can take months. Somebody else's opinion is going to be different. Somebody from the sort of science world will probably say, no, it needs this, it needs that, it needs the other. What do you reckon, Dave?
I think what we need to do is you need to look at it in a broader way. And so a bioactive system is a self-sustaining system. So we're looking at we've got plants in there which are thriving, they're growing, they're doing everything they need to do. And then we've got an ecosystem within that, which is our isopods, our springtails, and any other little bits and pieces. And if you do like I do and you collect your own branches, rotten wood, moss, everything like that, you will bring in your own ecosystem with that material.
So it's effectively bioactive a lot sooner.
Oh yeah,
the beastie mix is already bioactive.
Yep, yeah, because if you're using like for me the beastie mix, that's all rotten leaf mulch and everything that I scrape straight off the forest floor, and that's full of stuff. There's all sorts of bits and pieces in there. So you can set that up, and it is already a fully bioactive system in the broad sense of the word. Now, if you want to be a purist, you could argue the fact that, well, it's not actually stabilized. It's not stabilized yet. So it's not necessarily a bioactive system. But then we're not looking at it as a purist thing. This is not a science experiment that's going to change the world. So
it's bioactive, but it's self-sustaining. But you still need to clean. You still need to pull out the dead food. Yeah. You still need to swap out substrate to keep those plants going. Is it fully bioactive? Will it ever reach that point where it's fully bioactive? I highly doubt it. I think fully bioactive is a nice statement to say that I've got isopods, I've got springtails, I've got plants, I've got some moss in there. I think we should maybe even, I'll probably get shot now, but maybe we should do away with bioactive and say it's naturally realistic.
Yeah, I mean you're covering
realistic because the plants we put in are probably not from where the spiders are from. So let's just say natural setup.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this is what we were sort of like saying is if you look at it in a purist way, then it's not what you're saying it is. But then if you look at it in a broad, generalized way, yes, it is.
Not kind of Plutonian, man.
So you've got everything going on in there. I think it's I think where the big problem lies is people think because you say cleanup crew, they think it's actually going to keep everything dusted, polished, and lovely. It doesn't happen like that. And it won't matter whether you've got 100 million springtails in there. They will not clean that crap off the glass. So, you still need to do your bit. And this is the difference. So a cleanup crew, yes, in the wild, that is what they do. But then in the wild, you get an awful lot of other things like weather, which break things down, move things along, change things all the time. So there's an awful lot more goes on. In your enclosure is very very limited as to what it can actually achieve.
Maybe we put too much thought into the words bioactive.
I think it's more about people trying to be purists and trying to pick holes in what you're doing. In the broad sense of the word, you have got a bioactive system, but how deep you want to get into that, and how deep do you really need to get into that? It comes back to all the things that we've said before. You can. A lot of stuff, like what we saying about substrate depth and all that. You got your purists that say it still needs to be 3 foot because in the wild it's 3 foot. Well, I don't give a damn what happens in the wild because in my room, in my enclosure, it's an entirely different world. So what I need to do is find out what makes my spider happy in that world.
Yeah, that's right. Because in the wild, various temperatures, various humidities, all the rest of it throughout the year. In the spider room, it's almost constant.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different factors in your spider room than what there is in the wild. That's different variations, I should say.
This has been something that's gone across animal keeping throughout the world. And all the zoos, all the organisations and different bits and pieces, they've all tried to replicate the natural world. And they've all found out that you can't. You cannot replicate the natural world. Now, in America, they've actually tried to replicate Antarctic and things like that. So they've actually got exhibits where penguins are in literally ice storms and stuff like this, but you still cannot replicate the natural world. It's an impossibility.
It's what you do in your spider room, what Americans do in that enclosure. It's all predictable. It's all. I'll spray my enclosure down on a Tuesday. Okay, every single Tuesday. oh, well, I need to dry it because this, we're going to try to do a breeding season. Right. But like you said, what you don't factor for is nature and mother nature and the weather she comes with, which is, I mean, especially if you live in England, it's as unpredictable as my other half. It really is. I've seen. I mean, I've just had my birthday, and on February the 6th, in the course of 43 years, I've seen snow, I've seen ice, and I've been wandering around in t-shirts and shorts getting a suntan. It's been that varied. You can't replicate that in the home.
No.
Very, very difficult.
No, we should not be looking at replicating the natural world. We should be looking at creating a world where our captives thrive and do everything that they would do in the natural world. Let's not get hung up on trying to reproduce something that we've got no hope of ever reproducing. What we want to concentrate on is making sure that the things that we keep are kept in the optimum condition that they can possibly be.
Another way I could think of is putting it is, would your dog prefer to be sleeping down the end of the garden, and your cat, on a snowy evening when it's freezing cold, or would they love to be curled up at the end of your bed, sitting in a completely unnaturalistic environment, quite happily cuddling up with their owner? I think some of that can be taken into the spider hobby, in the terms of like you were just saying, David, is don't think too deeply into it. I mean, I was guilty of that in the beginning, especially with the bioactive stuff. I've seen a lot of interesting things going on in the hobby where the soil people trying to get from the actual country to make it absolutely perfect. All the plants are from the country and the area from where the spider's from and all the rest of it. And then I think, the next thing they're talking about is saying things are just platforms or areas for a spider to go and live in. So I don't think a spider is going to be too forced whether you've got a pathos in there or it's actually a plant from where they actually live in. I don't think they're botanists. I don't think they mind too much.
No, I don't.
Moon Over Miami is talking a lot about the Lacey Act over in America. What's going on over there. So they're going to be trying to stop majority. What did he say? USA is trying to pass a law to stop any exotics and reptile feeders, isopod snakes cross state lines, but it will affect everyone in the world, which is true. It will affect everybody in the world eventually, because what America do, we normally follow. What you can do to help support US, because we're one world, one family, is to go onto the US ARC and go sign the petition sooner rather than later. I have. I know a lot of the UK have, to show support to the American family that we've got. Paul says, captivity is normally a safe environment for our pets, which takes away a lot of stress and disturbances from them. So different care and husbandry works, as Dave says. I'm wondering, because I don't want to spoil Andrew Smith's DVD, but he was talking about baboons, and he said they web up so much, and they will they will web up their enclosure, not necessarily for a molt, not necessarily to detect food, but to protect themselves from ants. Because where they come from, ants will overpower tarantula in seconds, kill it, and have it as food. They're not going to, just going off the back of what Paul said, they're not going to experience that here, are they?
No.
I wonder if oh, nice one, Mark. He's just blocked a mod for me. I wonder if they realise that. I wonder if they know.
I think it's like you'll find most animals have an inherent instinct to do what they do. So, it's often been asked about male spiders. How does a male spider know that it's mature? And how does it know what to do? Well, you could sort of look at it logically and think, why shouldn't it? Because as you grow through life, you instinctively know what to do.
Oh yeah, that's right. At some point, okay, we get videos and we get teachers' talks and the daddy talk and the mummy talk and the rest of it. But at some point, our bodies go from not thinking about sexual reproduction or anything like that to suddenly going, oh, she's quite nice, or he's quite nice. And that's when your hormones change. So maybe when the hormones change in the male goes, I wonder if sometimes the males are backy offy because they kind of know what they want to do, but they're not quite sure how to get to the point where they want to.
I think I think when it comes down to spiders and breeding spiders, a lot of the time the males aren't given the conditioning that the females are given. So I tend to condition my males in a similar way to I do my females. And it's getting the right times of when they're ready and when they're not. So I quite often see with a lot of my male spiders, especially ones that I've matured myself, they'll have that final molt. They're now a mature spider, but they won't do nothing for 6 to 8 weeks. They won't make a web. They won't do anything. They literally just sit there. They don't even wander about. And then all of a sudden they'll wake up, and then you'll see a little bit of action on them. Then they'll start to throw a web, and then you start to move on.
And you get your mature male as soon as it pops, and you think, yes, yeah, oh, I've got a mature male. I need to, I'll put it in with the female tonight.
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, I've done a little bit of mucking around with my stuff this last year or two, and we're showing now that quite often females that have molted out or been molted for 3 to 4 months. I've noticed my Metallicas have been far more receptive being molted out 6 months or more, and then being paired. Whereas it was always a mad rush to get the molt, get them paired as soon as possible, because we're worried about them molting before they drop, because we can't get them to drop. Now, I changed my verses this year, and both of them produced a sack within a month of pairing.
Wow.
Yeah. And I've got a third one that I'm still waiting for her to drop, but that was done the same way. So we'll see whether she drops as quick as well. So it's there's evidence to suggest that the more mature the female is between her molts, like the further on she is from her molt, then the quicker she's producing. And it's the same with the male spiders. The males, there's this big panic that you often see it. Someone puts on male available. First thing they ask, how old? And unless he's dead fresh, like yesterday, certain people won't touch him.
My male Amelia has just done a spunk sheet. He's got a lovely way of words, as Michael. Hadley from Fantastic Tarantulas. I mean, he breeds some exceptionally rare stuff. He's had massive success, and he's had some devastating tragedies with doing his pairing. But he's always managed to get the pairing. And he said, transferring, what he does is he'll get a feather and he'll put it across the female's webbing, and then he'll tap it over the male, and then he'll do the same off the sperm web and over the female. And I was talking to him, and it makes perfect sense. There's not a lot of research done into spider hormones. So if that female is letting off hormones when she's ready, and the male picks up on that, maybe that makes the male a bit more, hey, let's go. And the same with the male. Maybe when the male goes into the female's enclosure, maybe he's releasing a hormone which we have no idea about. And like Dave's just been talking about, with conditioning that male, it preps him ready. So he's already in it's the right time of year. Here we go. It's Valentine's Day. We're off.
I'll tell you another trick that's worth doing is I keep all of my males together. So they're all side by side. And and you quite often find if you've got males that are slow or reluctant, if I put them in the middle of a rowdy bunch of males, so basically the lights will go out. If I've got like pokies or anything like that in there, they'll start tapping. Once you get one start tapping, then another will respond, and another one will respond, and then eventually you get this little chorus going, and you will find that the reluctant males 9 times out of 10 wake up and start tapping back, and then that's the trigger. They're off now. They're going.
Do you think because they think they're in competition against each other, so they're like, "Oh, well, if he gets to a first, I ain't got no chance." So, hey.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know whether it's a different thing. The males will respond to one another, but I've not noticed females responding to other males. So even with my pokies, I've had Metallica in one tank, Regardless in another, and then my Miranda, she was in another, and yet they would only respond to their said males. They didn't respond to the others, which was interesting.
I wonder if the rhythm of the taps or shakes is completely different from species to species.
Yeah.
But then at some point, a male from one species must have gone over to a female from a different species. Otherwise, we wouldn't have Metallica, Miranda, and Regalis.
Well, most of them are actually separated by, by geography.
Yeah, yeah.
So they would have produced themselves. You know what I mean? They've evolved their own thing,
split up and evolved. But you'd still need crossbreeding at some point within tarantulas. Full stop. Not
necessarily, no, because you can. Each species is its own creation, if you like.
So you could start off with 2, and if they move far enough apart, a bit like you
can look at it, can you? Look at like you got Asian elephants and you got African elephants.
Yeah.
And, did they ever meet? I mean, you could argue that the continents were joined at one point, many years ago.
So the same species of elephant went.
Yeah, so they basically went their separate ways, and one evolved to deal with the African continent, and the other evolved to deal with the Asian continent, and that is normally how things would have gone. So it could be the same with spiders, that as these countries have separated over the years and different things, and then you get human intervention where we actually sometimes make it possible that we can separate a country by topography. Yeah. So we've either put a road in, or we've built a railway, or we've done whatever, and it's caused 2 separate areas. But we're looking at things that have changed over hundreds of years. This is not something that just happens overnight. It takes a long time.
This is why, Dave, you're literally one of the most fascinating men in the hobby. Because you think you know something, and you learn so much from yourself. Thank you again, mate, for coming on. Really, really appreciate it. I know I said thanks for your time. I do really, really love having you on every time. Patricia said the Hattie pairing that you did, Dave, was so fascinating. Never seen one banging on the glass with its fangs. Do other tarantulas do that?
Yeah, that's the only one I've noticed do it. I've not noticed any of the others do it, which is it's quite strange. You'll find a lot of the pokies, they'll actually bang their emboli on the glass, which it gives a similar effect to what the Hattie was doing, but with its fangs. You'll notice with the Hattie, it holds its emboli up in the air when it taps. So it's using its fangs, but it's protecting its emboli. Whereas the Poecilotheria, they actually tap their emboli on the glass.
Do you think the Hattie Hattie's kind of evolved, not having the emboli as strong as what the pokies are? So the pokies can a bit like comparing us to a bricklayer with the hands. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think there is something in that. If you look at the video that I done on male spiders, I tried to show the different embolis from different spiders, and they all vary quite a lot. But they're all designed for their particular way of mating. So when you look at things like the pokies and the Hattie Hattie as well, they're what I call they're real fast. I mean, they're literally stab merchants. They go in, stab, boom, they're gone, and it's so quick you don't always even see it. I think my video of my Singapore Blue, the amount of people that commented on that video and said that was not a successful pairing. Now, I only paired her once, and I got a sack, and it was viable, so I'm pretty sure it was successful. But there will always be people who are like, "Well, I didn't see it." Just because you didn't see it doesn't mean it didn't happen. That
weren't viable.
Yeah.
This is called an egg sac.
Yeah.
Leah says, any tips for breeding Avic? Just before you answer that one, Chris says, Leah, just some wine and candles and some romantic music. But yeah, Dave, any tips for breeding the Avic?
They're really easy, to be fair. They're generally no hassle. One thing you do find with the Avics is quite often the female will come belting out like she wants to kill him, and they'll quite chase each other around. But then the minute that stops, they get straight on to, oh, we're friends and, let's get it on. So they're pretty good. But yeah,
it's easy when the female comes bolting out to get the paintbrush and go, no.
Yeah.
And really, that's completely fine.
Yeah, you're better off. I find the trick with all of the pairings, to be fair, is to give them space. So that means you can still have them in a small enclosure, but open it up. And if they want to come out of the enclosure, let them come out. They're not interested in running off and hiding behind your curtain. They got other things on their mind. So just give them a little bit of freedom. You'll be all right, Scott.
Bear in mind. I tried pairing up the Minax at about midnight. I thought, yeah, it'd be all right. At 1:30 in the morning, I'm still chasing the male around. Half this racking out to me about the fucking way, everything. And I'm thinking, I've got to find it because, there is no way Tara will let me leave for work unless that's back. And the little bastard, Dave, I put it in the catch cup, so it's there. And I'm thinking, right, I'll get the lid, put it under. Went to get the lid, and it's gone. Gone again. Half an hour. I was like, you leggy little bastard. It got called everything. Everything. But I mean, you get stressed out with things like that, and you get really, really annoyed, and then you look back and you just think, "You dickhead."
This is the other thing. This is the other thing. Actually, if you want to breed your spiders and you're going to pair them up, only attempt it if you've got a bit of time and a bit of peace and quiet and what have you. I've ended up with rows of male spiders on the shelf, purely unused. Purely because I haven't got time to get them together.
No, Vanessa says pneumonia says it's time for me to log off. Take care.
Oh,
keep yourself well, Vanessa. I hope you get better soon.
Good night, Vanessa. Yeah, you got to. We'll try that little Minax and we'll see what he does.
No worries. I think what we'll do is literally just box him up now and keep him a bit cooler and save him for you, Dave. I think.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll try and film him.
I don't think my female is quite big enough anyway. So whether she's mature or not, I don't know. But I'd rather him come across to yourself, more experience with the breeding, and smash him out.
We can give it a go.
Bethany says, I spontaneously appear when anyone says Minax. Yeah, that's a favourite one.
The Minax Queen.
Didn't she breed them successfully?
She's paired them. Yes, we're just waiting now to see what comes off.
Crazy, isn't it? One person could breed them dead easy, somebody else struggles, and then.
But this comes back to what we were saying. Everyone's environment is different.
Yeah, if you've got your niche, you've got it.
Yeah.
The Spider King says, in your experience, do mature females drum to get the male's attention? I sometimes get drumming from a main spider shelf, but it's only got a mature female shacklades on it. My curly hair drum like crazy before the male had even started. As soon as that male went into the enclosure, she was out, and the same with the Emernia.
But you see, you got to think of that's when you check back on your information, and you work out when did that female molt out, what kind of condition she's in, and all that sort of stuff, and that will start answering some of the questions for you to move forward. But yeah, I think I've had females that you can audibly hear them, across the room when they get going. Yeah.
The Emernia and the mature male, I put them next to each other, and the Mrs. came in and she was like, "There's something strange going on in your room. Something's out." She went, "I can hear this." She went, "Something's running around," and I came in and there's the Emernia literally going, "Boom!"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Just gonna get the camera out, babe, and do some filming."
See what happens. Yeah. What's that about centipedes?
Oh, sorry. Yes, thank you so much for bringing that back up again. Do really, really apologise. Sometimes the comments just fly by, and when I get listening to Dave, I do forget. Reese says, not sure if Scott or Dave answered the question about centipedes that come in with moss. Reese says he takes them out just in case they try to have a go when they're molting. I think the centipedes are probably more interested in your live food that you put in there than the actual tarantula. Having said that, it is a possibility, because if a tarantula disturbs a centipede, the first response from a centipede is to bite.
I think you'll find our native centipedes are not any issue to our tarantulas. And what we're also looking at now is we're looking at collecting all this material from the wild and putting that in our enclosure. So that would naturally suggest to me that you're building an enclosure for a juvie stroke adult. Yeah, you're looking at a juvie stroke adult. So you're looking at something that's of reasonable size. I wouldn't have like something like even one of our native centipedes. I wouldn't have in with a sling, because that could cause problems. So when I make up my sling pots, I generally use either potting compost, or I'll use maybe a little bit of beastie mix. But you're looking at such a small amount, I can actually flick through it and see if there's anything in it.
I always put springtails in with the tiny slings, because I think if they don't eat anything else, they might chomp a few of them.
Yeah, I mean the springtails are fine; they won't cause any trouble. I wouldn't put isopods in with slings, because they can cause problems. So yeah, generally speaking, your bioactive systems are for juvie to adult spiders, and there's nothing in there that's going to cause you any problems. Just keep an eye for ants. Ants are the only issue.
I keep ants as well. I'm constantly checking them. Those three enclosures. I suppose the only thing I could see really with the centipedes is if we got one in the enclosure, and although it might not contain as much venom as like a Scolopendria or something like that, so it's not able to take down the tarantula like a Scolopendria could, but it could bite a tarantula, cut it, and then you got the potential there of it bleeding out.
I think it's only going to happen if you keep them with very, very small slings. Anything that's a good sort of juvie upwards is of no issue to them whatsoever. It's not going to be a problem to them. I've actually even got, I noticed the other day, I've actually got a couple of our native centipedes in with my Dahani. And they're all, you know what I mean? One isn't going to bother the other. Yeah.
Wow.
It won't bother it because they're at completely different scales. You're talking about a giant with the tinies, the owner minuscule, and they're on different planes. They got completely different lives within that enclosure, so they don't really cross over.
That is incredibly cool. Because people will say centipedes are not communal, but then different species.
Well, I think if our native centipedes were of a similar size to the Dahani, then it would be a serious problem.
Well, yeah, because it's competitors, then, isn't it?
Yeah, but when one is literally so much smaller than the other, it's not an issue.
Sorry, Amy, I missed your comment. Let me just go back up. I think Metallica. Wow, we had a lot of comments. Can juvenile females tap? I put a light on my juvenile and it tapped at me, which is an Avic Metallica at 6 to 7 centimeters.
Now, did it tap or did it react to the glass? To the light? That's the question. If it was
tap, but it wouldn't be looking for a male.
Yeah, if it was actively tapping, you would know definite.
Mark says bloody centipedes. He hates them. I keep threatening him. Sutton Park is really good for collecting stuff, says Chris. Yeah, just when you go to like somewhere like Sutton Park or Coombe Abbey, like we've got, you've got to be really careful because those park wardens will have you. They will. Yeah, trust me. You're probably best off going to like a public woods and going well off the beaten track. Check Dave's video; it'll show you. And away from the roads.
Yeah.
Mark is looking to buy any massive centipede. Michael, he'll kill you. I live by Cannock Chase. It's great for stuff. Yeah, Cannock Chase is quite a large expanse of woodland. It's all right. Hey, Northern Exotics is in the house. Richard, you should have been here earlier when we were discussing bioactive.
Yeah.
He would have had a different opinion to us. That's for definite. He says, just checking in while I'm at work. Has anybody else got any more questions? Drop them into the comments.
Yeah, because I'm going to have to say goodnight soon.
Yes.
I've got a very early start in the morning. I've got to go and pick a lorry up.
Oh, what time are you up and out for that one?
It's going to be an early one. Yeah, we've got two of them. We've got two of them to go and pick up, so we're going to make an early start.
What, lorries or digger on lorry?
No, two lorries to pick up. So, yeah.
You got a lorry license in as well?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I've got HGV 1 and 2. So, yeah, there's nothing I can't drive, really, I suppose.
You got your 360 telehandler?
Yeah. I was in a 30-ton machine today, so mainly screening and what have you. And then, and then drive in between as well. So, yeah, a bit of all sorts.
I don't mind the 30 tons. It's just when it starts leaking from underneath the chair and you've got the belly plate to drop, that's when I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake, really? Night, Bethany. Take care.
Good night, Beth.
See you at the show, Bethany, actually, as it goes.
Yes.
And everybody in the chat as well, go check out Bethany's Spiders. She has got a phenomenal YouTube channel. Yeah,
it's a very cool channel. She does some really, really good videos.
She comes across really, really lovely. She's got a really good TikTok. I mean, not really good TikTok.
Yeah.
As well. Dave's a man of many talents, says Joe Lewis. Yeah. Yes. We discovered this on the first live when we basically just said to Dave, look, where did it all start? And we were all like in absolute awe of this man's life path so far.
She's been in most of it. That's my sister.
Is it your sister? Oh, Joe. Any stories from on Dave when he was a kid?
No, none.
Embarrassing for him.
No, none.
Make sure you get those in the comments now. Obviously, only ones you know being all right with. It must. I mean, it's a good feeling when you're doing stuff and your family support you as well, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's really. She's come to some of the shows with us, and we used to really enjoy the Kempton show, and go down there because she likes her dried butterflies and bits and pieces, and so we used to go and do them, but unfortunately they've stopped the Kempton one now. It's a bit of a shame.
Leah says she's got a video ready, but I might wait till Monday and put it out Monday. Release it now, Leah, and then do another one for Monday. Leah does some really good content, but then she'll leave it ages before she does another video.
Right.
And if she did like 1 or 2 a week, she'd be getting up there, I tell you.
That's the way to do it. You got, put them out.
Good night, James.
Good night, James.
Definitely not. I'm going to see him in a couple of weeks, says Joe.
A very, very wise decision.
I bet Paul's got some stories.
Not if he wants to live the rest of the week.
What have we got? Lupang might have to show me. Just me and a pal just went. If no clue. Michael has got literally the vein of every spider keeper's issues. Is I have an unknown sling looking like a dark form, but not sure. I have 2 other slings, juvie female or red form. I've got a couple of slings that literally there is more stories about Joe Scott, says Paul. We better not go there. I do want Dave on again, Message me on Facebook, Paul. We'll go over. Michael. I mean, it was a while ago that people were doing mystery boxes and literally putting a mystery sling in, and you didn't know what the hell it was, and it got shot down pretty quickly because people were like, "Well, we don't know how to care for it, so what do we do?" And the only problem with the mystery sling is sometimes you have to wait until they're a small juvie before you can actually see what they are. If you're lucky, a large sling or a grown-on sling, and you're like, yeah, you're a definite so-and-so. But if it's an unfamiliar species to the majority of people, then it's like...
I think it's a bit of a... I don't necessarily agree with throwing in an unknown spider. It's not for any reason apart from the same organisations are sitting there saying, you should really do your research.
Yes.
But I'll tell you what, I'm going to throw this in there and we ain't got a clue what it is. Good luck. I mean, I've had a lot of people actually contact me recently, and they say they've been given this spider and they haven't got a clue what it is. What is it? And I look at it and I'm like, that could be any number of a dozen brown spiders. I haven't got a clue. Honestly, haven't got a clue.
Paul says he's almost dead anyway, so watch it.
He is, yeah. Poor old sod. He is on death's door at the minute.
I mean, I got given... Oh, get well soon, Paul, in all seriousness, mate. I got given a couple of tarantulas from like a friend of a friend, and one of them, he just went, the label fell off a year ago. It turned out it was an Asian fawn, but I had to wait a while. I had to wait a good 2 or 3 molts down the line.
Yeah. It's very It's very, very difficult, and I think this comes back to what we were saying before, where you need to just stick with purchasing off of reputable people, and then that way you can safeguard. And it comes back a little bit of what I was saying. We as individuals need to show a little bit of responsibility and accept a bit of responsibility with what we're doing.
Yeah.
You can't buy something that you don't know what it is and then moan about it later. So yeah, you gotta be a bit careful.
I think, Dave, it's 10 to 11, and you obviously want to get off.
Yes, I better make it
early. I've got to get up early tonight. Well, in the morning.
Well, it's been lovely chatting with everyone.
Tomorrow for me is a nightmare at work because I've got literally new installations and all sorts to do tomorrow, and I'm like, no, why did you give me those jobs?
You need to change your Tuesday night to a Friday night. Then we won't be worried about getting up.
I tell you what, next time we'll have a Friday night live then, Dave. we'll have yeah, Friday night with Dave or something like that.
We'll get some beers in, some food, and it won't matter how long it goes on.
Get some Red Bull. We'll get a chinky in. Yeah. Dave, thank you again so much for coming on. Absolutely love having you on. Learn so much. Really are an incredible man in the hobby. I think everybody in the chat will agree with that as well. Can't wait to meet you in person at Taunton. That'd be pretty cool.
Yes. It's only a couple of weeks away.
Like I said, Mark the Spider Guy will be with me. Chris will be with me. Lupang in the chat, he'll be there. I think Katrina's now going as well. Leah's going. Bethany, it's going to be awesome day.
Yeah. We'll have to see if we can't all meet up and get that group photo.
Yes. Yeah, get as many of us in it. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. That would be really, really cool, actually. It'd be really good.
Yeah, man,
try and do that near the end of the day. When we finish shopping.
When everybody's like this.
Yeah.
And your eyes have gone because you've been squinting at spoiler labels all day.
I'll be honest, when I go through the doors in the show, I tend to run around like a bloody lunatic for the first half hour.
Yeah.
I clock everything, work out everything, and then, then I'll stop and chat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see you on the next one, indeed. Yeah, I'll have another one out for Thursday. Right, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you've subscribed this evening, thank you so much, and thank you so much to Dave for coming on again. Absolutely,
no worries. Thoroughly enjoyed it.
Good night, everybody.
See you later. Good night.